Hi guys, I'm here again. Today we will talk about extensive and intensive reading. We will compare the two reading styles and find out where we could best use them. So, if you are ready, let's begin. What is extensive reading and what is intensive reading? But before we go to the definition, let us find out what is reading. Well, reading is very important, right? Because this will help us to know facts and information around us. But it can also be used as a hobby. So let's define what is extensive reading. Well, extensive reading is an approach to language learning in which a long text and large amount of materials are read by the students for general understanding. Take note, class, extensive reading is reading a long text and large amount of materials so that you could get the general understanding of it. Now, what about intensive reading? Intensive reading is a reading method where readers are supposed to read a short text carefully and deeply so as to get a maximum understanding. In intensive reading, you only need to read a short text, but you have to do it carefully and deeply. Why? Because you have to get a maximum understanding of it. Now let's have a comparison about the two. Let's have the comparison according to its purpose. For extensive reading, the purpose of it is for acquiring information for pleasure. So, need to say, you have to enjoy what you are reading. What about intensive reading? This time, you are going to read it for understanding the literal meaning of the text. What about the material that you need to use for intensive and extensive reading? So here I have a list of materials which you could use for extensive reading. Example of that is novel, newspaper, magazines, digest, and comics. Wherein intensive reading, you have to read textbook, research works, documents, articles, land title, memorandum, or department order. So these are some of the examples for the extensive and intensive reading. If you noticed, novels, newspapers, magazines, digest, comics are read just for pleasure. And for intensive reading, like textbook, research works, documents, articles, land title, memorandum, department order, are example of intensive reading which are short but needs a thorough understanding. What about choosing the material or the selection of it? For the extensive reading, the material is selected by the person himself. So you have the grace and the privilege and freedom to choose whatever material you want to read, and that is for extensive reading. And for intensive reading, these materials are decided or recommended by the teacher for reading assignment or project. So, I think an additional information is that when you are reading an intensive reading material, you need to use dictionary because there are a lot of definitions and terms that you need to know when you are reading in an intensive reading way or reading style. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you and have a good day, everyone.